You know, I had so many different jobs. I could never stick to a job. I went from being a plumber, butcher, slaughterman, a mortuary attendant. You name it, I think I did it, you know. One of the last jobs I had was in this car horn factory. I think it was my first musical job, actually. Was tuning car horns, and I was in this soundproof room with about 6 other guys, and these car horns would come along on a conveyor belt. And I remember saying to this one guy one day at lunch break, I said to him, "How long have you been working here?" And he went all proud, he said, "I've been working here 35 years this summer, and I retire and I get my gold watch." And I just, for one fleeting moment of clarity, I thought, is that what it is? A gold watch after 35 years of working in this crap? You can stick this you know where, I'm out of there. I never looked back since. I had this fantasy about the Beatles, and I wanted to be a Beatle, you know, and so I don't know how I was swung this, but I got my father to buy me a PA system. I formed a couple of bands which, you know, fell through. I had one called The Approach, one called The Music Machine, and then I joined a band with Geezer, a band called The Rare Breed. We'd go in music shops and we would put, like, adverts on the clipboard. And my name was Ozzy Zig. I thought that'll attract attention. And then Tony and Bill came knocking on my door. And Tony was, like, surprised to see me. And I was surprised to see Tony, because we never got on at school. We weren't bosom buddies. And then we just started playing blues together in blues clubs. But how the Black Sabbath thing all came about, we changed our name several times. And the last name we had before we changed it to Black Sabbath was we said, we've got to change the name because it sounds like we've been... When we call an agent on the phone, what's the name of the band, and you go, I think you're throwing up down the phone, you know. And we used to rehearse across the road from a movie theatre. And I'm sure it was Tony who said one day, isn't it weird that people pay money to see horror films? Why don't we start making horror music? And then that's really how it started. There was no black magic occult vibe going on.
Gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses. In the fields of bodies burning, as the war machine keeps turning.
My mother's got a postcard somewhere where I go, Mum, we've just changed the name from Earth to Black Sabbath. Maybe this is the break we've been looking for. Ha, ha, ha. And the first record we recorded it in 12 hours. And the joy that I had of taking my first album was because my father would say to me, you'll never do anything with this. You got to have substance in a song. You got to have something so people can sing. You can't sing about all these love me do craps and all this. And I got on with the album cover and I said, Mum, Dad, I've made a record. You know? And they all sat around there expecting to hear, like, there's an old mill by the stream. And all of a sudden I hear these bells and thunder. And all this evil music comes out. I just sat there, motionless. I remember my father looking at me and going, son, I'm going to ask you a question now, and I want you to be truthful to me. Are you sure you're just drinking alcohol? And I just pissed my pants, man.